Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo Channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm sorry to be getting on late. I had to delay coming on because I had a client. And when clients show up late and then they take their time to get out of the chair. And my type of readings, it's not like I want to just rush people out. For those of you that don't know, type of reader that I am a shadow healer. I tell people what their psychological and emotional blocks are, and really just what happens in a person's relationship that creates a psychic trauma, and why those situations play out the way that they do, and what you can do to heal. Of course, I look and see what the person's going to do and you know, what they did do. But what's not important is what they did do. We already know what they did do, but what they're going to do. See, you're the alchemist of your life. You don't have to live that narrative. And that's why I like to do these type of readings, because they're empowering, they're healing. And you obviously want to know what your person thinks about you. And so that's relevant. But the thing is, feelings are fleeting, especially for a person that has a lot of spiritual blockages. They'll like you one day, the next day they're not going to like you. It's again, you're going to see a lot of fluctuations in their behaviorisms. And the truth of the matter is that all those experiences tend to emotionally get us caught up to the point that we can't really feel or discern what's happening. That's why a lot of times we're like, why didn't I see? Well, you don't see because you're too close up to the picture. And so when you're too close up to the picture emotionally, well, your body thinks that you're in survival. And so you're not going to be able to logically be able to discern. But being able to see a person's habits and behaviorisms before the actual karma comes into play. Karma is the action, really, not really what that person does, but is how you react to what they do, right? There's many different realities that play it at one time. A lot of us want to know, why we live in the realities, right? That's on this channel, if you find yourself on this channel. And we all tend to live that. I don't care how spiritual you are. We're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest. And we're supposed to learn we're not separate from the energy of love. So the universe brings us people and situations and experiences to teach us, to heal us, to grow us. So the key in doing spiritual healing too is to look at it more from a spiritual perspective, not from a logical perspective, because a lot of times logically it looks like, well, is it that I'm not worthy? Did I do something? And it has nothing to do, it has to do with the lessons that we're given. All right, I always like to talk a little bit about the channel. Anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you know where to find it in the description box. Don't forget to check out Outer Spirit bracelets. You guys get 35% off for Christmas, and 15% also goes to saving the otters. An additional 15%. All right, let's see what the underlining energy is. It is self-critical. We're going to pull another one. And perfectionism. Well, isn't that goes perfect? I feel like that's something that you and this person definitely have in common, that you both were brought up by parents or families that were very like hard on you. They expected a lot of you. They saw your potential. And maybe it didn't come across like they saw your potential, because again, the way that they talked to you was again very critical. Well, you became self-critical and feeling like there was something wrong with you, even though there wasn't something wrong with you. Is that we all have to have our own unique unfoldment process of finding ourselves. But if you have a parent that's judging you, that is judging you for how you do things or what you're interested in, or just anything, child then begins to look like they're flawed. They feel like they're flawed. And so there's a need to be perfect, or a person that tries to be too perfect. Now, the problem with that, then, Spirit says, is that you have a second chakra imbalance, because you find your balance in your unique individuality. Well, you and this person have a matching wound because you both grew up the same way. Doesn't mean that you learned how to handle the stress the same way. It's again because we all have our own survival mechanisms, but this is the spiritual soulmate. Why this person's coming into your life, because Spirit says, well, you're a mirror of whom what comes into your life. And this is the karmic wound, the second chakra. And the second chakra is, there's something wrong with me. It's like I'm not, so I try and give it my all. I try and be perfect. But when we try, Spirit says you're out of alignment. It's we go with the flow of life, through the passion for life, of finding ourselves, of allowing yourself to find your passion. Children can find their passion. They dream. One day I'm going to be this. One day I'm going to be that. Well, guess what? Not if you're growing up in an environment where there's a lot of judgment put on you. And if, parents were that difficult with themselves, judgmental, remember, it's passed down. It's what's passed down ancestral. So your parents could have been overachievers too, but it was never enough. It was never good enough. And it was just because it was striving to be better. But in that, we enter into a covenant. And the covenant is that we're saying we're not enough, even though we're not aware that we're doing it. But remember, your words are spells, your words are intentions. So we enter into a covenant of that. So this is why God, the universe, says, well, we need to, again, heal this, because the job of the universe is to restore you back to your original energy, which is the energy of the universe. All right, so let's check it out and see what's going on. Where should we look? Let's look at the hidden truth. Let's look at my cards. Let's because my cards, anything goes, anything can come out of there. I was just writing after a while to write. Anything could be on there, like get a cheeseburger, literally. Look at this deck. All right, let's see. Just being near you is intoxicating. I don't know if this person talks like that, but I do feel like when you have a spiritual connection with someone, there is chemistry, passion, knowing, and you get butterflies and you get energy, right? When when you're in love, all of a sudden everything seems like you're having a great day. When you're with somebody that likes you and they're treating you well, anything can fucking happen. You're like, the house burnt down, but that's okay, because you know what? I got a souffle out of that fire. We can see the bright side of any situation when we're in love. We're in this high vibration. So you give that to this person, which I feel like when things are good, this person gives that also to you, So there's a very strong spiritual connection. And you can feel that it's within the gut and in the heart, and then not really in the mind. So it's more like, again, because these are the energies that transcend all time and space. That's why even when someone dies, you can feel them. When you're close to them, you're like, I always feel like they're around. Yeah, because they are. They live in your heart. Again, the astral realm. The timing just wasn't right for us. Well, there was probably shit going on that this person was shady on. And so it was and they're chalking it up. For whatever reason, I feel, and this is without pulling cards, I just feel like this person was either getting out of a relationship, in a dead relationship, and they're like, I wasn't in a relationship because I wasn't actually in a relationship, but they were in a relationship because their physical body was in that relationship. So, I feel like sometimes people stay in a relationship until they realize that they have feelings, strong feelings for another person. What makes people do things? Love is, again, what gives us that energy. Like, again, where, again, everything is like the glass is half full, like when we're in love. And then when we're not, when our relationship isn't working out, everything we can see negatively, because that the person like hurt us, and we're just in that frame of mind. I want you. Well, again, ESP through the heart and mind, there's a lot of chemistry, there's a lot of passion. So, again, the timing. And so I also believe that this person is being self critical too in the way that they treated you. And I feel like for a while, maybe you were self critical in the way that you handled this person a little bit, because they like to trigger. So we can react, we can, say words that are self critical to that person. So there's a lot of that vibe. I feel you leaving me behind. So this person wants you, they love you, and they also know that, hey, they haven't given anything. So it's either now or never is what I feel. This is where they are right now. Like, you're gonna leave me. And so let's look at the spiritual cards and see, can we go a little bit deeper? I've hurt you and I'm sorry. I hope that you can forgive me someday and understand I was reacting in fear. And I feel like this person, any chance that they got to make it up to you, they got in their own way. They just sabotaged themselves. And they sabotaged it right from the beginning by not being transparent about the type of relationship that they were in. I feel like there was no physical chemistry, when it came to that, but there was emotional chemistry that person had. And it's because you can live with someone and not want them in the bedroom, but build a reliance, a codependency, where it's like a friendship, and that's the thing. So this person was living in that type of scenario, living compartmentalized, and they weren't honest with you. And that's what I originally felt. And they feel bad because, hey, they lived compartmentalized for a long time, and it never really, like, so this person cheated. That's what the person would that lived with them is like. So what? They come back to me. I get the resources. It looks good on the outside. So what? But the thing is, love person comes into life. And I feel like now this person's looking at their life and they're like, I settled. I settled to be with somebody that I'm like friends with, compartmentalized with, instead of being with someone that I want, someone that I actually have feelings. And the thing is, they get in their old patterns and they don't see it. And they understand it's because the person that they live with also makes sure, remember, it's your environment that creates your reality. So that karmic person became someone because they weren't getting any sexy time. Well, they had to become the person that was in charge of taking care of everything, right? Because this person's compartmentalized, which meant, well, now the person that they're living with is a friend, but also more like someone that like keeps track of the bills, keeps track of, you know, the household stuff. So has a lot of power in that. And that means that your person was like acting a little cocky, little too safe because they had a buffer, right? They had a buffer because that buffer was at home. Who cares if, you find out you don't like me, whatever, my life is going to be fine. But now what they see is you walked away and, you're leaving them behind because you're not coming back. and you don't care. And they're stuck with that karmic. They're stuck looking at their life. And this was a spiritual connection. You better believe that God is saying there was a lot of things inside this person that were blocked. Where like God's showing this person a mirror, like, why do you want to live that way? Why, like, you'd rather live like it's like you'd rather eat peanut butter and jelly every day instead of like eating at a five-star hotel. Like you'd rather, this is the difference. This is the difference. And so I feel you pulling away, and it's triggering my fears that you'll leave me for good. Here we see it again. So it's like because you've come to a point that you're like, you're not changing. You're like connected to somebody else. You're comfortable. You're uncomfortable, but you're comfortable. And so healing doesn't feel good. You know, um, they're praying that you'll come back after everything that's happened between us. I worry that you won't forgive me and allow me another chance because they already know that what they did, they took it too far. It's like this person, any chance they got to fix it, they chose not to. And it was their pride, their ego, and everything that they hid behind. And what it is that you held firm within your boundaries. So it's triggering this person. It's like, they and it's triggering them because there's chemistry. Like, it's, again, listen, this person's not on a high vibration. I'm not gonna lie. They're not coming back because they're saying, oh, I think that this would be such a great intellect. No, they want passion. It's like they want that. It's like because that's the catalyst. Spirit says it's the passion for life, but it can be, if it's on a too low vibration, it's just lust, which is what this person represents. They lived by that because they lived compartmentalized. So someone got the friendship, the other people got the lust. And so that's the thing where you're holding firm, they're still sitting on their duff with that person, spirit showing them, hey, this is what your life looks like, dumbass. And this person's leaving you behind just so that because you don't want to leave. You want that. You want this person wanted you to lower your standards, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. This person says they're realizing that this connection is something special and worth treasuring, but it's like, and there's a sense like it's too late. And they know that it's too late. That's the kicker. So it's like I sat there and I waited. And now that it's completely gone, it's like that. And so it's, again, because this person down deep inside, they don't feel like they're deserving. They just don't feel like they're deserving. And that's a self-esteem issue. And of course, it's easier for this person to live the way that they were living. Because remember, that karmic was like kind of, the person that took care of the house, the person that created stability, but they weren't the passion person. And it doesn't mean that they were making the money. It means that they were making sure that the house was running like a home. This person was doing what they wanted to do, because you can't have flings here and there. And, it becomes an addiction too, because, hey, you're living in like every day it's peanut butter and jelly. Well, shit, every time now and again, you want to go for Chinese food. You know what I'm saying? You want to go for Italian. You want to go for, hey, like it's life. It's like, and this person is like, it's accepting that as long as they stay in this low vibration. So it's, this person is has not going to love themselves. They don't love themselves enough. The same divine energy flows in each of us. This energy is the catalyst to our reunion. So it's, again, this person still on some level believes, oh, well, we have such a strong spiritual connection. Still, like, maybe I can resolve it. And that's the thing. It's like, I have to be like, this energy makes me angry because it's like is, again, now that you have completely disengaged, which is what I feel like, because they know it. It's like, because they were detached and disassociated from you while they were living compartmentalized, wasting time, you know. So no, it's like this person is starting to see, you know, is seeing signs and synchronicities. They're daydreaming, they're visualizing your life together. There's a part of this person that thinks that they could have you at any time. And it's so, understand that could also be because this person lived compartmentalized, and they were able to get a lot of people, so they're not really treating you like you. I feel like this person pulled out every trick in the book to make you surrender your boundaries, to not hold to your boundaries. And what it is that you never let go of your boundaries. So that's why they're like, again, feel you leaving them behind, and that there's a part of this person that, just doesn't feel good enough for you. I mean, that we see it throughout the reading. It's like, I'm conflicted. Yeah, because it's like, if they leave that cushy situation, which isn't even comfortable, it's bearable. And there was a part of them that was living from their lower energies, like an addiction, right? I mean, it's, you have to see, you're sneaking around, you're lying, you're getting off on the fact that you have two people, talking to you. It becomes an addiction. It becomes, the distortion is that this person really thought who they were for a long time. Then they come across you. They were like, oh, you're like everybody else. Pull out every single trick in the book. You disengaged. You're leaving them behind because you already left. It's like, this person was like in the game thinking that you were going to cave, again, in their ego, finally realizing you're not caving. And really, when they really say, like, I feel like you leaving me behind, I feel like like that's it. Well, because it is, but it brings them back to, you're not good enough. You know that you're not good enough, and a person only knows that they're not good enough when they're not good enough, like that. I mean, if we're putting it in our 1,000% of our effort towards something that we like, we're still gonna maybe not be that great for whatever the position is that we want. However, God always makes a way where there is no way, just for you. It just might take a lot longer. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is not that. This is that this person says, I'm shady. I'm comfortable living from these lower energies. I'm like, that person is my friend. It's like, again, even though I don't love them, I don't have good boundaries. I'm codependent. So the person, again, emotionally has a lot of power over me. But I don't share that when I go out and I pick up people. I tell people how that person's annoying, how that person's gross, how that person's this, how that person's that, because no one would be with me otherwise. And so, again, all these behaviorisms that this person has to look at about how they conducted themselves, who they are. You better believe God's saying, hey, hey, sit there, look at it, look at it, look at it. Like showing a mirror, like making this person look at themselves. And they're feeling bad. They feel bad. But they feel bad about, because again, it's by you doing what you did, it's like the facade, the illusion is gone, and there's nothing that a person like fears more than when you challenge their reality. And this person made their reality, the reality was a facade. Nevertheless, they were believing it. It's like, and you did not. And that's the thing. It's like, you're like, they already know that you're tempted. It says, don't be tempted to disconnect from source. Our connection to source is our connection to healing, the healing that we love. Yeah, like it would take God to be able to do that, to change it. but it's already there. They already sabotaged it. And the reason why is because they have codependency issues on how they deal with life. And they deal with life through not dealing with it. If they have someone taking care of the house and doing all whatever that is, and then, that person's probably the chef, the chauffeur, the cleaning person, the house. I mean, doing everything while this person's running around and working, contributing to the house. It's not like they don't, but on a financial level. And now you got this person also like getting like attention from a lot of other people. It's like, why do they have that? It's because they can't supply themselves with the emotional happiness and fulfillment, and for their lives to actually have a unfoldment process themselves. They actually, they're living from their lower energies, and it's comfortable to live that way. It's not comfortable to change. Like, it's like uncomfortable, but they'd rather you be more uncomfortable, right? It's like, because then I don't have to change anything. And the person that I'm emotionally connected to, that I don't want to sleep with anymore, because they repulsed me in that way. But I do care about this person, because how could I not? Did everything for me. They were so self-sacrificing for me, that I feel the attachment, the guilt. But it's we know that that's a negative attachment, that you got two people that are just negative, that are feeding off of each other after a while. So this person can't feed off of that emotionally. And that is like, instead, when you're entering into like a covenant and stuff like that, that's when you have attachments, and you get people that have like a Jezebel spirit, someone that's actually sucking off of them, keeping them in a lower energy, making them perceive, well, I'm not good enough. It's like, no, no, no. You're good enough if you would leave that person and do what you need to do for yourself. You will only do what you need to do for yourself if you left that person. But you don't want to leave that person. You feel responsible for that person. And so again, it's a distortment, which you would have never entered into a connection like that if you would have known that that's what it was. It's like you would have never volunteered. It's like they don't even want to be in a relationship like that. And you better believe misery loves company. So they would have no problem not being very nice to you over time, because they're not nice to the person that they live with. You know, we can say, what are they going to do? But what we see is a lot of worry. But I'm worried you're going to leave me behind. But not once did I see them saying, I'm going to come back and I'm going to fix this. I see, don't be tempted to disconnect. I daydream. So again, this fantasy, wasting time, the illusion. It's like, no, again, emotional force. This person does have still an emotional connection to you, and believe it or not, they're trying to manifest you through, again, that ESP. So if you feel this person thinking a lot about you, emotionally thinking about you, they are. Um, and I think that this person thinks, well, there's a part of them that's like, if they talk to you, they are gonna try and talk to you on an emotional level, but they are not an emotional person. So be careful. It will be in hopes that you open up, because they already know that you have your boundaries up, that you're not going to let them into your life. So I feel like, that's a little bit of that. There's a part of this person that also, I feel like, yeah, they're going to try and come back and win you over. And I hate to tell you that. It's like, we see it here, like, again, like conquest, like, almost like, I don't want to say this in a weird, but almost like property. I feel like now that you disconnected, and the thing is, it's like you need to like really like look at everything, because the thing is, this person's not transparent. They're not going to be honest. It's going to be a one-sided relationship. They haven't changed. It's more like this person doesn't have an identity. And so now the fact that you have disconnected and you have an identity and you're happy with your life, it's like they're not happy with who they're with. That's why they do what they do. But they're really not happy with themselves. It might not even be anybody that's in their life. They would never be happy with over time. It's just that person has put in a lot of time. And so it's like more like it's more like a passion. It's more like, again, a conquest. Yeah, that, like, I hate to say it, like this person's going to ask for forgiveness. They're going to come in, they're going to try and connect with you on an emotional level. They're going to say that they're healed, but again, because there's still that sexual energy there, like they're going to say that how they were, like, again, regretful. They're going to try and make it up. They can expect communication. This person doesn't want it to end. And so there's a part of this person that does have feelings. I'm not going to say that they don't. However, it's the fact that they need healing. It's like they need to move out and live on their own and like have their life together where they're not going to be codependent. Otherwise, it's one relationship into another relationship. Relationships are something that happen over time. Trust is something that happens over time. Intimacy is something that needs to be nurtured and grown. And that's what this person has a problem with. It's a second chakra imbalance. And the second chakra is, I'm inadequate. There's something wrong with me. I feel like I'm not good enough. I'm lacking. And that's how our reading started, with this person self-critical. Again, there's stuff to criticism. They want things, again, perfectionism. They try and be perfect, which Spirit says there is no such thing as perfect. It's like you are perfect the way that you are, not shady, but the way that I made you, Spirit says. It's, again, not the way that someone tells you to be or your perceptions of who you should be. And that's what this person's been living like. They've been living that facade because they've never really healed that. So on a core level, it's like, I'm not good enough for you. And they're not. And Spirit says, well, that we got at least one thing right, like you're not. But that's because on a karmic level, you don't get to do what you did and think that you get to walk back into a relationship. Yeah, you had feelings, but you rolled the dice. You didn't think that it was going to hurt because, hey, it doesn't bother me normally. So we have to say, well, why did you attract this person into your life? Because obviously it's a healing reading. I mean, you know, you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. And so your perfectionism, you're self-critical also of yourself. And again, try and be have perfectionism. That's a self-sabotaging energy. It's a second chakra imbalance. It's again saying that there's something wrong with you. You feel inadequate, that you need to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, God says. Only I'm perfect. Again, you're striving to be the energy of unconditional love. It is all that you're doing, and you can become that. And that's an unfoldment process that changes and transforms and metamorphoses. You're not the same person that you were when you were 8. It was like, would you wear those same clothes? Would you hang out with those same people? Spirit says, no, you're always metamorphosing. You're always changing. It's like, because no one can take what's yours. God says, only you can, because it's an unfoldment process. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. The universe brings you what you need in the right time, in the right place. And it's a co-creation process all the time. God saying, well, I'm always supporting you. The issue of you not believing you're supported because you weren't supported, because you were shamed. Oh, that's an ugly energy. Shame. It's like you were bad. That's again, there's something wrong with you. Shame on you. You're disgusting. You're an embarrassment. You got a bad grade. You're like whatever. It's again, I felt shame. They held back physical, emotional support. I was shamed. I was made to feel like I wasn't loved, like there was something wrong with me, that I was defective, like I wasn't good enough, that I was unworthy. And the spirit says, yeah, that affected your second chakra, the water element. It's again your individuality, your unique individuality, your passion for life. We go with the flow when we're in the passion for life. God says, where's your passion for life? It can't be a person. It has to be, again, something that you just love and you cultivate. Remember, the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. And so again, you become yourself. You get the story of who you think you are, then there's a real story of who you truly are. And again, that's how you create that second chakra, your unique individuality. I can go with the flow of life through my passion for life. You had no nurturing. There's no nurturing, so you didn't really discipline yourself when it came to actually like doing your schoolwork or your homework, or like in worrying about the future, who you were going to become, because you were worried of who I am today isn't good enough. So I can't dream about later if I'm trying to be in survival now. And so, but when you were made to feel like there was something wrong, where spirit says that's why you're so self-critical of yourself. That's why you again want to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. We shoot for excellence, and we all have our own unique excellence, and that's an unfoldment process that happens while you're doing it. Mastery comes in doing. Spirit says every master starts off as a disaster because they don't know. So you start where you are and you become yourself. You become yourself. You become yourself. It only takes a mustard seed's worth of effort. God makes that multiply. Again, discipline yourself. And that's through reparenting yourself, giving yourself that emotional support, because you didn't get it. You didn't get it. You were made to feel like you were bad, like you were like unworthy of it because of, and it could be the parent was angry, just angry. They didn't like their life. They projected their anger. Sometimes that happens. Um, that's ancestral karma. Or it could be like, no, I was a bad kid, and but it was told that it was bad also because I acted out. It doesn't really matter what the reason. We get caught up in the story of the reason, like this person did this and this person did that, where really spirit says, well, the real karmic lesson is that, trying to be perfect and being so self-critical, it's like you're beating yourself up. And God says, I'm inside of you as a gift of spirit. You can't go around beating yourself up, because that's like you're beating me up. And I'm your supernatural power that allows you to create whatever it is. If you can imagine it, you can create it. Your energy needs to go towards becoming yourself, not beating yourself up, not looking at problems, not those things. It's about becoming. Look what happened to this person. They thought that they needed to be perfect so much that they created a facade so much that you're out of their life. you know Again, because that was more important, the illusion of what things look like, more than what it really actually is. And that spirit says that's spiritual disease, because that person doesn't love themselves. That we're not here for that. We're here to be the expressions of love, and to be able to connect deeply with people, and to contribute to the world in our own unique way. It's like not to live through our addictions, you know, but that'll happen if you don't have like a passion. Like you don't become yourself. You're so busy trying to create illusions. There's no time to create yourself. It takes a lot of energy to create facades because facades are based on lies. So you got to go around lying all the time. And then you don't remember who you lied to and what, and then you just look like a liar. So it's just not a good thing. Again, which it brings back to the energy of shame, by the way. Eventually, like the things that are done because somebody is self-critical and it wants to be perfect and creating that illusion brings more shame. So we can always see when a person has that spiritual blockage in the second chakra, and then that the relationships aren't going to be good because, hey, you're going to pull shady people to you if you're not real, if you're not authentic, or if you are not just okay with yourself. If you're sitting there beating yourself up, being, I don't like myself, I'm inadequate, you're not going to pull a person to you that can love and nurture you because you're not love and nurturing yourself. Spirit says, I give you free will, but I get the last word. You're going to beat me up while I'm going to bring situations to you that make you feel that way. It's the way to honor yourself is to honor me because I'm inside of you. So again, we co-create together. There's no separation between you and I and what you can create, your potential. It's the illusions. And those illusions are, again, how you were conditioned. And a lot of times it wasn't on purpose. That's the way that my grandfather used to call my mother shithead. You know what I mean? It was like they like you wouldn't really go around calling somebody that way and realizing the psychological damage. They didn't realize, you know, they were unrealistic about that, sending kids off at 14, 15 years old to fight wars. I mean, it's just the barbaric society that we live in, you know, and just we're evolving, but damn. I mean, the things that like how we've been taught, how other cultures even have been taught, and so it brings us away from our spiritual sovereignty. Your spiritual sovereignty is all about your supernatural power that allows you to really be able to create the life and the life experiences that you want to have. You have that power. And so, but you can't have that power if you feel like there's something wrong with you. So Spirit says, now that you know why you attracted that person, you still have to transmute the negative energy. If you don't alchemize the negative energy, you're still going to attract the same types of karmic themes. You still might attract the similar karmic experiences until you experience them and you just don't even notice that you're experiencing them anymore because they don't affect you. So again, it's not what happens, it's how you deal with what happens, which is your karma. Remember, so you created it because of that spiritual blockage, but then Spirit says now it's about seeing beyond your immediate fears. To get more insight, you always elevate your perspective. Always look at things through a spiritual perspective. Again, because you get the story of who you think you are, then there's a real story of who you truly are. And life, you get your tests first and your lessons later. So it's about, being aware of that this is a journey. We're all on it. We're all evolving. Spirit says release control, second chakra. People that have fear, they want to control. So, when you've been with a person that they're so controlling, and it's like, because they're just full of fear because someone cheated on them in the past or someone lied to them in the past. And so Spirit says, release control. You can go with the flow of life when you have passions in your life, because your choice of focus is your greatest tool to, again, to be able to get a different perception sometimes of what's actually happening. Sometimes if we're too close up to the picture, we get paranoid and we're not really seeing what's happening because you can see what you look for. You also can, like I said, deal with difficult times because, hey, only in the now do you get divine guidance. So you're not hyper focused on the problem so that you're so overstimulated. So by the time that the problem actually happens, you can't do anything. Because that's another one that likes to happen where spirit says, well, you're so focused on it. You're like wound yourself up like a clock that you're like a board. And spirit says, only in the now do I give divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. And you know that it's divine guidance because there's always a call to action right after. And it comes on randomly. It doesn't come on when you're thinking about it. It comes on when you're thinking about other stuff, doing other stuff. Release control. Your mindset may say, well, I've trained myself. Spirit says, right. So you have to recondition your body. And that's through, doing yoga and breath work. Because in the breath, there's time to think, to slow down. It triggers that parasympathetic nervous system to shut off. It's again, otherwise you're going to be like a board and then react. And spirit says, you'll create the same experiences. Release control. It's again, because you don't have any control. Spirit says, I'm the one that's in control. You're only allowed to say what you want to create and put the energy out there the best way you know how. But understand, Spirit's way is going to be better than yours because it's all knowing. And it knows what you want more than you know what you want. And it's going to bring you to everything that helps you heal and evolve to become the best version of yourself. So understand. Now go into uncharted waters and evoke your curiosity because you don't even know who you are. If you grew up being told that you're unworthy and shame and not good enough, and then you're walking around believing that spirit says, you don't even know who you are. So release control because you don't have control. You only have control over yourself. And so it goes back to, again, becoming yourself. So how do you know what you want to become? You don't know unless you go out into the world and you meet different people and you see they don't treat you the same way that you were treated as you were treated when you were younger because you're not the same person. It's again because you see yourself differently. And so Spirit's saying it's like that's when you find what you like and what you don't like and figure out who you are, then you're able to attract your tribe because you got the deep wisdom and it's all about transformation. And the transformation is there's nothing wrong with me. I am enough. It's like I'm not the pain that I've endured or what someone called me in the past or someone else's perception. I get to choose who I am. And I choose to find that by going out into the world and taking bold action, which is going to be outside of my comfort zone. But nevertheless, risks are always going to be rewarding and that, you get to see what you're really made of so you can really ascend life, understand that you're protected and moving into brighter horizons because you've integrated the spiritual lesson, which is I don't need to be perfect. I'm perfect the way that I am. I accept myself and I love myself. And, I have a good attributes and bad attributes like everyone has, but I embrace my authenticity. And that allows me to be vulnerable. And that allows me to connect with people on a heart based level. And so, you're not going to be, you're not going to get everybody, but you're not $100 bill. Not everyone's going to like you. You know, it's about you integrating you, which you also were compartmentalized. If someone was telling you that there was something wrong, that you weren't enough, and you were living that narrative for so long, well, Spirit's saying you didn't realize it. And you don't realize it until like a bad situation comes into your life. Why did I put up with that? Why did I deal with the one-sided relationship? I mean, obviously, if this person had a buffer at home, they were a little too cocky, as we said, certain times, a little bit too, I'm too big to fail, that type of attitude, not because of you, because you didn't really give a ton. Again, like a lot of other people, a lot of people lost everything because, hey, this person can play the game, lie. But again, this was just to show you where you were fragmented, where it's like you are enough. So you could either choose to be with this person that is like you'd see nothing, or you could go out into the unknown where you perceive that there is nothing, but you find a whole lot of everything. Spirit's saying you find yourself, you find your tribe, you find your passions, and then that opens up that third eye to say, hey, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And that is, you're in your body, and that's where you're chasing. You're chasing that. It's like, where do I want to go? What do I want to happen within my life? I'm not looking at what I'm afraid this person's going to do. They're going to show up today. They're not going to show up today. But what are they going to do? I release control. It's like, and I put my hands, by put my life in the hands of the universe, because all you have control over is what you're doing, which is becoming yourself. Be like childlike, Spirit says. Your unfoldment process will happen while you are on the path. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Remember, just have fun, and obviously not self critical. Self critical is not the energy of fun, that's the energy of fear. So, Spirit's saying you get back into that energy, and the universe takes over from there. It's like you're not in charge. It's again, just become yourself, and no one can stop you. Only you can forfeit, and that's usually by somebody else you know, trying to pull you off your path. Spirit says, wisdom, understand God has a plan for you. Live here now. Again, only in the now do you get divine guidance. Knowing that beauty is to come, that you don't force things to happen faster than the universe has decided. Learn from your experiences, take small steps of faith, and succeed thanks to all your efforts. So, and that's talking about everything that I just said, which is that Spirit says everything's happening in accordance to the way that it needs to. So sometimes going through these spiritual tests before something good or big happens in your life, or you meet someone new, there's always going to be a little bit of a test. But understand that you will succeed if you are on the right path, which you are, because you're spiritually in alignment. You didn't settle for less. Anytime you settle for less, you again are out of alignment with the laws of the universe. If you say I can't have that, like a lot of times you can, doesn't mean that it's not difficult. It means that if it's really something that's meant to happen, you're intuitively called to it. We tend to talk ourselves out of it, where Spirit's saying you are the boss of your life. You can hire, fire, and promote accordingly. So don't keep people in your life that are not gonna, celebrate you, feed you energy, and not like they have to emotionally show up. They have to do something in your life. It's like if, and not someone that makes you question or makes you feel like you're not good enough, which is what this person made you feel like. But that's because they don't feel that way. The Spirit says, thrive to do your best, and don't worry about the things beyond your control. Again, Spirit saying, don't worry about how things unfold, because we tend to say, I don't really like this, or I feel like I'm doing it wrong, or we judge because of how other people's unfoldment process. Spirit says, don't judge your process. Remember, be like childlike. You're utilizing broken things in your environment. There's nothing that's perfect. You utilize what you have to utilize to create yourself, and understand if eventually something better comes along, it evolves, you metamorphose, you're always evolving and growing. Don't judge yourself. Love yourself. Release control, because again, that's when we tend to get self-critical. That's when we tend to want to get triggered to be perfect or need to be perfect, which is so overstimulating because you're never going to be perfect. There's no such thing. You'll never achieve it. So, Spirit's saying it's again, honor your process, release control, don't judge, just be like childlike. Do it again. Become it, become it, become it. Put the energy out there the best way you know how. Believe me, Spirit will make a way where there is no way because Spirit says it's not about the perfect. God says it's not about that. It's how much love you pour into something. Remember, you're becoming the energy of unconditional love. That's the energy of the universe. That's your original energy. You have the sun and the stars and the moon inside of you. And that's the energy, the vibration of the earth is vibrating at the energy of love. And so Spirit's saying, so you can't be self-critical and you can't judge yourself or judge your process. Or again, which it's the way that you were taught to think because of who raised you. Really, Spirit says that'll be the worst self-sabotaging blockage that there is because you never see anything happen. It's again where it's again, don't judge your process. Don't do my job, God says. Do your job. Be like childlike. Have fun. Don't deprive yourself of the simple pleasures in life, either in pursuit of your goals, because your goals again are going to happen. They just happen in divine time. So don't stop seeing your friends. Again, the second chakra is creating balance in all facets of your life. So there's time for work, there's time for play, there's time for friends, there's time for everything is what Spirit says. So we can go with the flow of life if someone comes into your life and they don't really have that much to offer, and that's not saying like they have to like buy you stuff, but again, that emotional support, you can see it. You're not so close up to the picture. You can also train a person how you want to be treated. No, I'm sorry, I can't get together with you Tuesday because I'm working or I have other things, engagements. Maybe next week. You're training that person. I'm not always around. You don't tell this person everything. They don't there has to be a little bit of air. Like you didn't earn you didn't earn it. And that might sound mean, but people value what they have to work for a little bit. So you create a little bit of mystery again. So you make that person want to think about you. Now, if a person becomes so obsessive, they have a second chakra imbalance. They don't give you any energy. They have a second chakra imbalance. You don't want that person. Why? They don't have an identity. It's going to be codependent. Again, they're going to be in lower energies. They're going to, again, create the facade. Not a person you want. You want somebody that's pouring into themselves, becoming themselves, because, hey, they're going to value anything that is around them because they value themselves. And so, again, you hold to a standard, and that standard is it can be perceived as perfection, but it's really not. It's that you're in alignment with just loving yourself because it's like you said, Spirit does the rest. The universe does the rest. The universe has a unique unfoldment process that's just for you. No one can take it. No one can. It's an unfoldment process while it's happening. People can again sabotage themselves, but you won't if you're again in the energy of not wanting to control, not judging yourself, and being able to go with the flow of life. And you can do that, like I said, because you're in the passions for life. So if something bad happens, you have support from all those other spirits that you're in, and you're also getting the divine support that works through you in the now, in the moment, on how to deal with whatever that stress is. I'm going to keep that there. If you resonated with the video, please give it a like. Hype the video. That's a new thing. I don't know how it's done, but hype it if you know how, because that's what I've been seeing that everybody's been doing, and it must be a pretty cool thing. I need to find the button. I think that there's a button You guys can let me know, like the video, and if you're new, subscribe. You're welcome, Debbie. And until next time, remember, be true to you. Remember, the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. You teach people how you want to be treated by how you treat yourself. Remember that. Bye bye.